How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Q&A video. If you remember last year, I did a Q&A just before Christmas. This year, I thought I'd do exactly the same thing, do a little bit of a debrief on what's going on, and basically just answer your guys' questions, really. As I mentioned in a community post, I'm really busy over the Christmas period. It's just a really good time for me with friends and family, etc. So when you're seeing this video, I should be away in New York, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm getting at least one video out a week at the moment, rather than 2 videos out a week. So apologies for the slightly impacted upload schedule. Also, a massive thank you to those of you that donated to the Movember cause. Really appreciate it. Very glad that my moustache is now gone, but at the same time, just super grateful for you guys for supporting it. Anyway, as always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the questions. So if you didn't know that I was even asking for questions for a Q&A, then you probably don't follow me on Instagram, which means that you need to go and follow Cars with JB on Instagram right now. Even though I've just said I'm really busy, I'm still posting every single day on there, and you're getting to see pictures of me and cars and basically cars with JB. It's pretty sick. But yes, I basically just put out a post on Instagram asking you guys for your questions and anything you guys wanted to know about the channel or about cars and anything in general, and I'm going to answer as many of them as I can within the next sort of 10 minutes or so. Let's start off with Tony1210's question as to, it's not really a question even, it's just subscriber meet exclamation mark. Yes, I really want to do a subscriber meet. In fact, I probably want to do a subscriber meet with someone else. So another YouTuber who's a good friend of mine called Aldous. The two of us get on really well, and I'm hoping that we can get a subscriber meet going together rather than just doing it on our own, so we can get as many people there as possible, get some cars out, do all sorts of nonsense, and just basically have a good time. On a side note, I actually find it very weird when people do recognize me when I go to car shows and stuff. I literally have zero social anxiety. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone, but for some reason, when subscribers come over to say hello, I've always been like, and kind of freeze and just have no idea what I'm saying. So apologies if you're one of those people that has actually spotted me and said hello. Rushy number 1, a long-time supporter of the channel, has asked me, have I ever crashed into someone or been crashed into? And while I haven't ever crashed into someone, I have been crashed into. I was actually going around a roundabout in Guildford, just a little way down from where the cinema is, and it's kind of got 3 or 4 lanes, and I just was coming through to sort of turn off to the left, taking one of the lanes to go off left, and this girl who had been driving and just had absolutely no idea what she was doing was in the absolute outside lane, and then last minute decided she was going to turn all the way around the roundabout, just slammed into the back of my Skoda. I'll overlay some pictures of the scrapes and stuff on the car from after she hit the back of me. Luckily, we pulled over into the Waitrose just up from there. You might be able to work out where I was in Guildford at this point. She got out of the car, she was like, I'm sorry, and I looked at the car and I was like, I just can't bother to harass this girl and get insurance details, all that nonsense, so we just let her go, basically. Girlfriend was in the car and she was a bit shaken up, but it was absolutely fine. It must have been like a 3 mile per hour impact. So what's my realistic dream car? I mean, realistic is a very relative word. I don't really know what realistic is. I'm thinking realistically in my head I'm going to be a billionaire one day, so I'm thinking Enzo Ferrari, Carrera GT, all that good stuff. But I'm thinking realistic as in whatever our social norm of realism is, then probably the Lotus Exige. If we assume that the 430 Cup is unrealistic at £120,000 or whatever it is, then I'd just like to get a V6 at least. So they cost about sort of £40,000 to £60,000 depending on spec. I'd love to get one of those, even if I had to finance it, whatever it was. One of my absolute realistic dream cars, I guess. Kind of part of the reason why I bought the MX-5. I love that raw driver focused experience, and I feel like the Mazda gives that, and I feel like Lotus have a severe focus on that, so that's why the Exige is probably my realistic dream car. Had a few people ask me what's the best or the fastest car that I've ever driven. Probably the objective best car that I've driven is an SL55 AMG. It was properly quick, really well kitted out as well with seat bolsters and all that kind of stuff that bolstered up when you turn corners fast, etc. It was a really quick car. You just press the throttle, next thing you know you're at 100, and it was just like, wow, unreal. But I don't think it's the best driving experience I've ever had. I actually, honestly, and this is sounding ridiculous at this point in time, but I haven't ever smiled as much in a car as I have in my Mazda MX-5, and that sounds utterly ridiculous and not something I expected, especially considering I was going to buy a TT instead of my MX-5, but I'm so glad I went for it because the smiles per hour, or whatever you want to call it, they are through the roof in an MX-5. Ben Deer 05 has asked, would I ever finance a car? Yes, I probably would. I think it's quite good for your credit rating if you can pay it off. If you can't pay it off, then it's obviously very bad for your credit rating, so Don't ever buy a car for the sake of your credit rating, but it could be useful anyway. So just think about it as a byproduct of financing a car. In my head, ideally, I'd always like to buy my car outright so that I don't have any sort of anything hanging over me and just have it done with. But some cars are very expensive and I'd still like to own them, and financing might be the only option. So that's my thoughts on that. Am I turbocharging or supercharging the MX-5? I've said it a couple of times, turbocharging is what I'm gonna aim for. If supercharging suddenly becomes the easier or better option, I would swap to that. But the goal is at first to get everything other than the engine done exactly how I want it to be done, take it track driving, enjoy the car naturally aspirated, and then when I'm feeling really comfortable in it, smash a turbo on it and just get as much power out of it as possible. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about this, but you guys can tell me. I feel like with the MX-5 project, I need to do a lot of a focus on the track side of things as opposed to just the modification things, because Car Throttle's done them probably better than I can possibly ever do them. So I need to sort of differentiate myself and say, well, actually, this is my focus on track driving and enjoying the car. I can't just do all the same mods as Car Throttle and then be like, wow, look how great that was. Sam Ianson has asked a whole bunch of questions. My favorite one of those is, what's my favorite Japanese car? Easy, Impreza, every day of the week. Just probably my favorite Japanese car of all time. But that said, as I said in my previous video on all-wheel drive cars, Mitsubishi are very much up there with Imprezas for me. So I don't know if you call me an Impreza guy over an Evo guy in that kind of sense, because I'm not really involved in that debate. I just love both cars. What's my favorite engine? V10, easy. Eth Garth is asking what my dream daily upgrade would be from the Polo. I think as a daily, maybe something like an RS3 just to have fun in. Have I seen Le Mans 66 yet? No, I haven't. I need to, and I will, and I'll let you guys know how I feel about it. RL Pix asks, am I missing the Tash? I am. I'm not missing it to look at. Like, I know I looked like young Lionel Richie or young Pablo Escobar or some kind of nonsense. Dick Dastardly I got all sorts of nonsense from it. I definitely don't miss the scratching. There's, yeah, many things not to miss about it, but somehow I still felt a little bit like, oh, what? When I shaved my top lip, so yeah. Also, side note, how do people survive with proper big moustaches? Because that thing is so scratchy and it scratched my lip and I just couldn't get work done because it was just constantly there on my face. I could feel it at all times. Eleanor asked what my favourite German project car would be. Very difficult question, but I think it would have to be the Audi Sport Quattro, so the classic one from the 1980s. That would be ideal for me. Non-car related question here. What is my day job? I can't tell you exactly, but I am a consultant for a large financial services firm. There you go. Life of Lee asks, have I ever thought about reviewing subscribers' cars? Yes, I have. Yes, I will at some point. If you have a car that you want me to review, come drive, POV, all that good stuff, let me know either via email or in my DMs or in the comments or wherever it is, and we'll sort something out. And in the new year, because this side of 2019 I am super busy, we'll try and get something sorted and I'll come and do some driving. Ollie RH asks, why did I start YouTube in the first place? And that's a good question. It's basically because of the crash that I had in my Skoda. It happened at a time where I was taking a lot of other L's, like my motocross crash and a few other bad things were happening. And so basically I wanted something to take my mind off of those things and to focus myself on as a challenge. The reason why I specifically chose to do YouTube is because I like making videos. And the reason why I chose to make videos about cars is because I have a very clear passion for cars. Fortunately, I think it's those two things that have helped me to carry on making videos, as well as the significant growth that I've had in that time as well. In the past, I would start stuff and never finish it, but at this point in time, I feel really, really happy sort of fitting YouTube into my life, making videos that I want to make and just enjoying my time making these kinds of videos. I'm really gassed by the fact that I've done now over 100 videos, which is just nuts. And kind of to that point as well, Zach Gleason asks, what are my future plans for the channel? I don't really know. I'm just going to keep on making videos about cars. I'll make the odd top 5 video. I make videos that I just really want to make. I find a topic that I'm interested in, I make a video about it, and hopefully you guys like it too. I think I'd like to make it increasingly interactive or more focused on real life situations where I get to drive cars and that good stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy doing. One plan that I maybe have for next year is I'd quite like to do my racing license. I think it'd be quite an interesting thing to record. I've done a lot of saving and I think money's in an acceptable place at the moment, so going to get the Mazda project done, going to do some work on Penny as well and get the Pointless Polo project to a position where I'm actually happy with it. One thing I'd like to do more videos on is Formula 1. I have a real passion for Formula 1 and I think it fits in quite nicely with the car stuff as well. So I might do the odd Formula 1 related video, not necessarily just Formula 1 specific, but related at least. Cars Are My Ting asks, what is my favourite of my two cars? Now that's a really impossible question. It's like choosing your favourite child or something. I think probably Penny is my favourite of the two if I take all things considered. The MX-5 is 100% the better car and the car that I have more fun in and the car that I will likely have more fun in going into the future. But I've had Penny for so long now that I've built that sort of strong, tight-knit driving experience in the car, if you know what I mean. And yeah, for a £400 2002 Polo, it's really done me well in terms of growing my YouTube following and doing all that good stuff. So yeah, big fan of the Polo. Lewis Harry 69 asked what's my next car. Really good question. I found it very difficult to decide to buy the MX-5 because of my sort of ever-increasing knowledge of cars, and having bought it, I have no urge to buy another car at this point in time. I just want to get the Polo done, I want to get the MX-5 done, and then from that point on I'll look into what happens next. Ideally, if I end up moving into central London and renting all that kind of stuff, maybe I'll finance myself into a Lotus or something stupid like that, but they're not very good for YouTube views, so I'm probably have to take that into consideration as well when it comes to getting one. So We'll take all those things considered, basically. FRD HDG asks, if money was no object, what first car would I have bought? He would have gone for a Ferrari F355. Now, in hindsight, I would 100% have still had my Skoda Fabia estate. I know it sounds boring, but I loved it so much, and it worked perfectly for me. It did everything I needed it to do as a first car, so I'd probably still buy that in hindsight. But at the time, if I think back to how I was feeling before I bought the Skoda, I probably would have had like an Audi S3 or something at the time. That would have been like my ideal first car, because an RS3 seemed like a little bit much, but the S3 seemed like kind of the right balance for a first car, which it definitely is. It's probably still way too fast and you'd be livid if you hurt it or scratched it or whatever. But yeah, that's probably what I'd have gone for, realistically, in my head. Oase Imran asks, if I had a budget of 60k, what car or cars would I get? Lotus Exige, nice and easy, I've said it already. But the point around cars, I might make a few videos on that in the future, sort of like what's the ideal 3-car garage for X amount of money, or what is the ultimate 3-car garage or 5-car garage or 10-car garage or 400-car garage, because that's what I want my garage to be like in the future. And finally, a very important question from Tommy J30N, probably the question that I'm going to put as the title of this video even. What is my next modification for Penny, my Polo? I've actually got a few bits to go onto the car soon, so I'm going to do the tyres at some point, so make them look like they have tyre stickers on them. I'm going to paint all the bits around the car to make sure it's completely colour coded to summer blue. I like to tint the rear windows black to carry on that black and blue theme that I've got going on, as well as rewrap the roof in black, which is going to be hard and I'm going to get very angry, but I'm going to do it right next time. And then I know I did change the suspension, but I'm feeling coilovers, having just potentially bought something quite interesting for my MX-5, hint hint, and just give it a little bit more of a drop. Not massive drop, just a little bit more of a drop. But the one modification that sits above all of them as my one thing that I really want to do is the 1.8T engine swap. And the reason why it hasn't happened so far is basically because I need that car to get me to and from the station in the mornings. So when the MX-5 is in a situation where it can be daily driven, I will daily drive it, and I will take the Polo off the road and I will try and get that engine swap done. Hopefully next year, maybe later than that. Who knows? Anyway, I hope I haven't waffled on for too long. I'm trying to keep this video to around about the 10-minute mark. You'll probably hear at minute 30, like, what is this guy doing? I want to say a massive thank you anyway to you guys for your continued support. I can't believe this is my second sort of full year on YouTube. I only really started in around March 2018, but I still count that as a full year. This year, yeah, another full year on YouTube. To have grown as much as it has so far, I'll do a full debrief at the end of the year going into next year, but it just feels ridiculous, honestly. Like, your guys' support, the comments, all that good stuff. I try and reply to absolutely everyone. It does get me super gassed up to know that I've got a whole bunch of you guys at home who watch and enjoy and listen in and all that good stuff, as well as hopefully some people that I get to help as well. Again, a massive thank you to my patrons as well for going that step extra. It's just, you guys are nuts too. But as always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram so you get to ask questions in the next Q&A. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.